Welcome to Close Up Radio, where our hosts, Doug Llewellyn and Jim Masters, bring you the amazing stories of people who answered the call to unlock their potential and taken control of their own success with authenticity, creativity, persistence, and resilience. Close Up Radio special guests share their knowledge and wisdom so you, the listener, can live the most empowered life possible. Close Up Radio. And now, here's today's host, Jim Masters.
Thanks so much for joining us, everybody. We're live worldwide on the award-winning Close Up Radio, which is a service of the award-winning Close Up Television Radio. It is 2 p.m. Eastern here at our broadcast center, 11 a.m. Pacific, and it is June 10th, 2021 at the time of this live broadcast. Thanks for making us a part of your day all around the world. We appreciate that and all the great feedback that we get as far as the amazing guests that we feature and celebrate here on our program. Very excited to spotlight here on Close Up Radio for the next 30 minutes my special guest, Gerod King of Gerod King Associates, based in Charlotte, North Carolina. He has served 20 years in the United States Army Reserve and retired as a senior non-commissioned officer at Fort Knox, Kentucky in 2007. He was a convoy commander in the Bosnia Armed Conflict from 1996 through 98, and he spent 29 years in the U.S. Justice Department and was retired as a senior special agent in 2019. He's put his time in, and we thank him for his service. Today, he's an executive coach and trainer and speaker. He founded Gerod King Associates LLC because he wanted to continue helping others really be better leaders and professionals. He draws on his experience from military leadership and federal law enforcement to help individuals and organizations maximize potential to achieve results. Since establishing GKA, he's quite pleased with the positive feedback he's received from many people after coaching and or the training sessions. He says he grew up in the military and federal government, so launching his own business was uncharted territory and a little scary, something a little bit different. For many years, he trained people not to be afraid of new challenges and endeavors, and now he's following his own advice when it comes to Gerod King Associates. His organization really is only as good as the people leading it, and it will rise or fall based on the competence level of leaders calling the shots. Additionally, good leaders will take ownership, hold themselves and everyone else accountable, not just the others. And, there's questions that need to be asked. How do you make better organizations, make better leaders? It's a proven way to achieve results, and that's what he's endeavoring to do every single day for his clients. It's really a terrific story, and we're very excited to be able to share it with you here on Close Up Radio. Let's welcome Gerod King of Gerod King Associates live to Close Up Radio for this one-on-one exclusive conversation. Gerod, welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have you with us today.
Jim, thank you so much. It is a pleasure to be here.
You are very, very welcome, sir. And first off, thanks for all of your commitment and to your wonderful service for all of us on our behalf and for the country at large. We really appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you. I will share something with you. As a doctor once told me, he says, your outside look pretty good and you look pretty young for your age, but your insides tell me you have abused your body for a long period of time. And I told him, I said, Doc, you're absolutely right. 20 years of military and 29 years of law enforcement can do that to you.
Yeah, I would imagine. Yes, also at the same time giving you this real understanding of people and personalities and conflict resolution and bringing people together and unification and really understanding the human condition. Because, literally in both military and law enforcement and in the business world, you have been right there on the front lines. You've been seeing, you've been observing, living it. And what's great about that is you are very relatable to your clients in a way that stands out above, many others because you've walked the walk and talked the talk. You've seen so much of life right before your eyes. You can really work with people who have frustrations and confusion and fear, and they get stuck in, all those self-limiting beliefs But let's talk about some of that for you. What are some of the things from your own life's experience and your own incredible journey, Gerod, that inspired you along the way and pointed you in the direction to realizing you were meant to not only do what you've done in the military and law enforcement, protecting and serving, but also go even beyond and really work with people and coach them and inspire them in the way that you do?
Yeah, Jim, I'll be honest with you. Those were things I never aspired to do. For me, I was attracted to the field of law enforcement. I was attracted to the military. And these were things that I wanted to do for myself. And that was all I could see, was just for myself. Once I got into these fields, I was given certain duties and tasks, and certain things started to materialize in my background and what I was actually seeing and doing, but others in me that I couldn't. For instance, I did not know that I actually had a good skill set for actually facilitating, leading, and training and coaching. I was my military leaders who actually brought it to my attention and told me, hey, do you realize that you're actually pretty good at this? And I'm like, you're kidding me, right? And it's like, no, you're actually pretty good at this, and we would encourage you to pursue this in the military. And I did. And I eventually became a certified instructor, a certified small group facilitator. And I did 7 years worth of leadership development and training after I came back from the Bosnia War. And I was a senior non-commissioned officer, so I had 15 years of management experience, 7 years of senior leadership management experience. With the federal government, I actually wanted to go in. When I went into that, it was just, I want to do what I enjoy doing, Well, when I got into the federal government, I was in federal law enforcement. And as a senior special agent with the Department of Treasury, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, I got into investigations. And that led me into complex investigations. Once I got into complex investigations, I started dealing with, in corporate America, you would actually call what I had to do project management, because it was so large and involving so many organizations. And I found out I was pretty good at that. And it was amazing for me. I never endeavored to do those things. I actually the evolution of Gerod as a soldier and as a senior special agent is how I kind of got into them. I grew into those.
That's what you grew into it, and then realized that through it all, you were absolutely destined to and meant to do it. You had to live life and live the experiences that you've lived, Gerod, to then come to this realization that this is work you not only love doing, but you have to do them, and you really want to help people achieve their goals and give them the courage to leap. And in order to do that, you had to model the behavior and launch the business. That can be fraught with fear because it's, step by step. But it was the first step toward doing what you're doing today, right?
Absolutely. Here's what I didn't know, Jeff. I did not know that my two previous careers were actually preparing me for something post-retirement. That I did not know. What I was doing in the military, what I was doing for the federal government, they were actually preparing me for what I do now, but I didn't know it back then. And as I reflect back on it, when I told you I didn't aspire to do these things, I knew at some point in time that I was actually pretty good at helping others, inspiring and motivating, training and teaching, coaching others. But to actually have a business doing it, that was something that I just couldn't see. But as I got closer to retirement, then I realized, hey, there is a life after the military and after law enforcement. And what is it you want to do? And then it hit me. What is it you're the most happy doing? And I said, I have actually truly been fortunate with my careers, the opportunities and experiences I've been able to get. I feel like it's time for me to give back. And if I'm giving back, that means I'm helping others. So in order to do that, I said, I have to start my own business to help others. And, there's an old expression, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. So I'm going to stay in my lane. And I'm going to do what I've been trained to do by the government and the military, work with people in leadership development. But now I'm going to be helping civilians and others be better leaders like I did in the government and military, help people out here. And in order for me to do it, I must have a business where I'm my own boss. I can set my own agenda, work with whoever I want to work to, not have any politics, bureaucracy, or red tape, because it's mine. And then I can help people on the level of which I would like to do. And this is what I feel compelled to do. That's the actual evolution of Gerod King, but also Gerod King, the leader, the trainer, the facilitator, and the coach, is how it came to be. Hence, that's where GKA came from.
That's fantastic. That's a great story. Let's talk about, so that's the creation of it. Let's talk about some of the incredible work that you do and how you really help clients get through, some of those things in life that sometimes can really keep us stuck. Self-limiting beliefs, fear, not putting one step in front of the other, one foot in front of the other, to take those challenges and risks head on so we can grow and prosper and inspire others.
Absolutely. As a coach, I work with professionals. Most of the people I work with are senior leaders and above. And my job is to help these people be better at what they do. And by doing that, you help them identify blind spots, hurdles, and obstacles, and help them overcome them. I am not a teacher. I am not a consultant. I'm not a teacher. I'm not a mentor. I'm not a counselor. I'm a coach. And my job is to help people, work with them to help them find the answers within themselves. Usually they are always in them. They just don't know where they are, or they forgot where they were. And I actually work with them to pull this out of them. And listen, can it be uncomfortable sometimes? Because I'm asking deep, thought-provoking questions. Yes, it can be. But what I do know is sometimes growth, in order to grow for some people, they need to be a little uncomfortable and push them outside of their comfort zone. And guess what happens when I do that? It's like a bird. They spread their wings and they fly. And then you can see them actually start the same thing. If I talked to them 45 minutes earlier, when they told me I have a problem and I don't know how to fix it, 45 minutes to an hour later, they can tell me I've got 3 or 4 different things that I can try. And none of those things I told them. They came up with it on their own, basically by me coaching them. Now, when they do that, and they take that right there, and they go out there and then they work on a solution, solve a problem based upon what we did in that coaching conversation, that right there is why I do what I do. That's the actual, I should say, that is my drug of choice right there. When they come back and tell me do my next coaching session, like, you will not believe it, that was a success of what I did last time. And then I tell them, well, guess what? You were the one who came up with that, not me. I just helped you find the way to do it. And also, I'm not trying to help them solve problems, them to understand the process to solve the problem. Because if they can figure that out with my help, they know how to address the next situation, a problem that may come, which may be totally unrelated to what they just experienced, but they understand the process of how to deal with it effectively.
That's fantastic, and that's the key, is dealing with it effectively. Let's talk a little bit about, because I really want to emphasize the extraordinary background that you have. What are some of the things about leadership in the military or in the government that translate into the private sector with the folks that you're working with?
Absolutely. This is, for me to advance to the rank that I did in the military, I actually had to reflect back on this. And I went through about 5 schools, military schools in leadership development, training, and then 2 additional schools to learn how to teach people how to be at the level that I was, how to get to that level. So there was a lot of training involved right there. And I'll give you an example. One of the things when I was my senior non-commissioned officers, when I used to have those classes, one of the things I would ask them, on the very first day they reported for our class, is it more important for someone to respect the rank and the position, or is it more important for them to respect the person who holds the rank and the position? And I would always be quiet after and let someone raise a hand and volunteer. And once we got someone to answer, we would start dialogue behind that, to see what was the general consensus. I would always follow up. It's like my experience has been, it's better for them to respect the rank, respect the person occupying the rank in the position. Because if they only respect the rank and the title, they will only do what it takes to get the job done. But if they respect the person occupying that position, they'll go beyond the call of duty. Now, when I say that, this is coming from someone like me who's been in armed combat, who's been in law enforcement situations, particularly life and death. And this is what I know to be true. When someone's willing to follow you, knowing they may lose their life, but they're following you because they believe in you. That's not the rank and the position they're following. They're following that person. That's a leader. That's leadership. And I don't care what industry you are in. If you possess the skill set to do that, you can be successful anywhere, any field of human endeavor. When I work with my clients, that's the mindset that I have when I work with them. When I work with them, I want them to have a mindset that they can be successful in any atmosphere, anywhere, in any environment, in any organization.
That's incredible. It really, really is. One thing that people oftentimes associate with the military is sort of a command culture. Obviously, you have to follow the orders of the superiors, and that's where it is. But that's not really the case in more traditional organizations, right? How do you navigate sort of that aspect of it, Gerod?
No, the one thing that is I do really like a lot about the military is the organization and the structure from leadership all the way down. The difference is, and I actually had a colleague I was talking to earlier this week, and we were talking about that difference. In the military, you can just tell somebody what to do a lot of times and they'll just do it. In corporate America and private industry, it doesn't work that way. So what when the leaders that I work with, what I want them to be able to do is I want you to be able to get people to do things because they want to do them, not because you're making them do it. Understanding people. In many instances, when leaders fail, a lot of times it's not the X's and O's they got wrong. It's the Mary and Joes they get wrong. They don't understand people. That's what causes them to fall short. Understanding people is how you get things done. And that's for some people, depending upon how you're wired, Jim, that's easy for some people. For others, they're not wired that way, so it doesn't come natural for them. So if they did not go to some school in the military or some type of leadership training somewhere, they never get that training. So the things that made them good in their job as a subject matter expert might not be the same skill sets they need to be a good leader. And so they may struggle with that. Doesn't make them a bad subject matter expert or professional, but it could make them a bad leader because they have multiple deficiencies, and they could all be related around people stuff, the things that didn't come naturally for them and the things they've never received training in. That's where a good coach, not just me, but any good coach can step in and work with that individual to help them in that area of weakness where they're struggling with people skills.
Right, exactly. And that's an essential part of all of this. You're hitting on some really important and valid points. It's all really relational. Do you feel like the leaders care about you, or are you just, an instrument that's completing tasks? And that's one thing that I think people are realizing as the role of the leader has changed and morphed over the years from just being the boss up in the ivory tower to being somebody who's rolling up their sleeves, bringing everybody in, all these different ideas, sort of, in a collaborative and creative way, expressing more compassion and empathy for the staff and for the colleagues, all really very, very important, right?
Absolutely. Now, back in the day when I was doing the things that I was doing, very early back in the day, these terms called emotional intelligence, I guess it's always been around, but it wasn't called that back then. And if it was, it wasn't commonly known or widely known. But what we're talking about now is a certain level of emotional intelligence. How do you get things done? Understanding. Give you an example. My philosophy was this: lead and train the soldier, but connect with the person. And I'll say that again: lead and train the soldier, but connect with the person. The soldier was a person before he became a soldier, and I need to connect with him on both levels in order to get him where I would like for him to be. First of all, to develop him and to get him to follow me and to follow my commands and my orders. That was any good leader in the military. If you take that to corporate America, whereas you're still leading and you're training people, but connect with the person. If you do that, now you know them on a personal level. And I'm not talking about fraternization. I'm talking about familiarity. Know who's working for you, and they know you, versus keep them in their arm's length, and the only thing they know about you is you are the superior. The only thing you know about them, they are direct report. You don't know each other. And when you actually see people who actually utilize emotional intelligence correctly, one of the things that I'm seeing in my practice is they know who's working for them, and they connect with them on a personal level as well as professional.
Mm-hmm. Right, exactly. And that makes, again, all the difference in the world as well. We all have growing pains. We all learn. We all adjust. We all tweak as we go along. For you, Gerod, what would you say maybe were some of during your adjustment period as you were becoming ever the incredible coach that you are, what were maybe some of your own personal growing pains as a coach?
One of the things I'll give you, and this is professionally speaking, one was going from being a federal agent, law enforcement officer, to someone who was conducting interviews. Most of the time when I say this, people who are not in the field, let me give you another word for it, interrogations, doing those kind of things. I was asking leading questions and closed-ended questions, trying to get confessions and things along those lines. In coaching, that is a polar opposite. I don't ask leading questions. Good coaches don't ask leading questions. They don't ask closed-end questions. They leave them open because we're trying to stimulate, the brain to think, to go into deep thought. So for me, that was something I actually had to overcome, because that was a problem for me. Because if I got into deep thought or whatever, I would revert back to my law enforcement training early on in my coaching. So just imagine, I'm actually coaching someone and I revert back to that. So during my training, that was something I had to concentrate on, and I was able to overcome that. So realistically, if you think in sports terms, we refer to that as muscle memory. You just react. You don't have to think about it. I had to overcome my muscle memory of being a law enforcement officer to become a better coach.
Right, yeah. Because there are different styles, different training, different approaches to it all. Exactly. Similar threads, yet different approaches. How would you say, and you've touched upon it a little bit earlier, but maybe we can expand it on a little bit, your experience in law enforcement, how has it influenced your work as a coach? Maybe there's various things about understanding the human condition that you pull from that experience that actually aid you in being the effective coach that you are.
Absolutely. Wouldn't take anything from my law enforcement experience, because it put me in contact with people from all walks of life. I got to meet people I normally would never have met. And I give you an example. I've met a sitting president of the United States in official capacity, heads of state, foreign diplomats, all the way down to people who are common career criminals, to gangs and hate groups. I've come in contact with all types of people. What it required me to do was learn to actually be flexible. There's a famous quote from the martial artist, the great Bruce Lee. He says, "Be like water. If you pour water into a glass, it becomes a glass. If you pour water into a bottle, it becomes a bottle." I had to learn to become water and be real versatile. Now, as a result of learning that with all these different types of people, guess what type of people I'm coaching now? all different types of people, different races, different ages, different cultures, different backgrounds. They're wired different outlooks on life. But because I've had so much experience dealing with people in all different aspects, that prepared me for this. And I was able to make that adjustment fairly easy.
That's fantastic. I like that. It's really amazing that you were able to make the adjustment and to do it in the way that you've done it. When your experience as a leader in Bosnia, you prioritized the lives, of course, over the mission. That's an empathetic approach, isn't it?
Well, absolutely. When I went to Bosnia, and I should say when I was deployed to Bosnia, along with 149 others and my transportation company, I went there as a husband and a father. Most of these people I went with, and a lot of these people who do serve in conflict and war zones are husbands and fathers. And their brothers and sisters, all the worse. They have family ties. I realize that. But when someone is actually under your command, and I should say a lot of them are under your command, like they were for me, and the convoys that I moved around in, my goal was to make sure, you came to my convoy this morning and you had no issues, you were in good health, and as of this morning, you were going back home to your family. When I get back at the end of the day, I want them to have that same outlook, knowing I got back safe. I'm going home to my wife and kids, my husband and my kids, because I understood I was that way. The difference between them and me was I was responsible for them. They were not responsible for me. And I made that known to them that you are important to me. And my goal is to get you back here safe every day so that you go home safe when this is all said and done. And but through great good fortune, we all were able to say that when it was said and done after 9 months and we came home.
Mm-hmm. That's really fantastic. It really, really is. The clients that you work with, when they first work with you, is there a thread as far as what they are coming to you for and the challenges and the ways that you also help them? Because it is not one size fits all. It's not a cookie cutter approach. You really customize everything based on the individual and what it is their needs are, right?
Absolutely. I never go into a coaching session with any expectations or any preconceived notions because I have no idea what they want to talk about. So first, let me digress. When I first get a client, the first thing we do is we have an introduction, we have a chemistry meeting, a session to get to know each other. They need to know me, and I want to get to know them. It helped me to coach them better, but by them getting to know me, it helps them develop a certain level of trust in me. As a coach and a coachee, there's one thing you must have. You must have trust, and you must have a relationship. Every time I go into one of these, I tell them, this is going to be a relationship between you and I. Everything that we say and do is going to be confidential. You have my undivided attention, and you can trust me, and you can be honest when you come here. Because if you can come here and be honest, I can help you. No matter what it may be, I can help you with that situation. So they all present in different ways with different things they would like to work on. One thing that does show up quite often, though, is because I do have a military and a law enforcement background. Some people come into it proceeding with caution because they don't really know if I'm going to come off like a drill sergeant or not. And we laugh about it afterwards after we get to know them. And when they finally tell me, okay, I really didn't know what to expect because I knew you were law enforcement and I knew you were a soldier and I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know if you were going to be like a drill sergeant, during our coaching session. I told them absolutely not. But the thing that 70 to 80% of the people that I do coach, they tell me the reason they actually did come to me is because I had senior leadership experience, I had major project management, and they respect the fact that I actually served in the military, and they believe in structure and organization, and they think it can be beneficial for them to work like that.
I want to get to that website, GerodKingAssociates.com. Gerod KingAssociates.com is the website to learn more. Would you believe this half hour flipped by in a New York minute? we'll have to have you back, Gerod. This was really amazing. This episode is fully archived, so people will be able to hear this in its entirety and share the link to this broadcast of Close Up Radio. But again, the website, folks, is www.gerodkingassociates.com. That's Gerod, and then the word King, and then the word A-N-D, and then the word associates.com. Gerod, thank you again for all that you're doing to inspire and lift people up in such a meaningful and long-lasting way, coming from your extraordinary background in not only the military and law enforcement, but your understanding of people in an empathetic way that really is what people are responsive to and relate to in their daily lives. Hope we get a chance to expand some more. Again, this 30 minutes went by very quickly, but this was a real pleasure and an honor, Gerod, and I hope we chat some more. Thanks for joining us on the show today.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you so much.
You take care and you be well. And thanks to everybody that's listening all around the world. We appreciate that. I'm Jim Masters, your host here on Close Up Radio. Thanking you as well. Stay tuned. We'll be back momentarily with another amazing guest right here on Close Up Radio. Till then, for all of us, have a terrific day. Thanks for joining us.